What is up, guys? Yannic in the house,
And Andi.
and welcome to a new episode of the Soul Setting Podcast, the podcast in which we are discussing seemingly trivial topics in a very deep, philosophical, and spiritual way.
Mhm.
And I'm wearing the serious glasses.
Yes, you are.
We call them the serious glasses because when something gets a little too serious, for example, personal opinions, life-changing topics like death, relationship bonds, and family opinions, family
Politics.
politics. Yeah, we don't argue a lot about
We don't.
politics. We don't, but in general, it's a serious topic where people just get worked up. And wearing these is just a bliss for both people to make it a little bit lighter, because nothing in the world is solved with worrying or being a little too heavy in it.
Or being angry.
Exactly. Lightness is always a good thing. And we actually changed our name now to the Soul Sitting Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
How so, Andi?
Well, we were previously known as Pet Sitting, and now we are Soul Sitting because I feel like it reflects what we believe in more.
Yeah, we were actually called Plantsitting.
What did I say?
Oh, pet sitting. I at least heard it. And
Oops.
we looked into like what is our passion, and for me it was definitely pets, especially. I mean, I like plants, but pets are really, they're just like a warm main course, and plants is like a pre-dish a little bit if it comes to consuming God. And
Plant over there is gonna hear us.
no. And I mean, it's like everything takes a whole meal, but yeah. And then we just thought, like, if we do pet sitting as well, plant sitting is a little bit just in it. It narrows the box actually, and we could just call ourselves pet sitting. But since our motivation in this is to not just see that pet or that plant as an object, oh, this is our pet, this is, or even not just this is Lily, but as a being, like we are connecting being to being. It's hard sometimes and it needs constant reminders, but we try to be completely lost of identities, being to being, and that way we can grow so much spiritually.
Yeah.
And that we want to put on the outward. That's why we are doing this podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought it would be a nice thing to actually start at least the next coming things, the next coming episodes, with a reflective question.
Yes.
Out of our journal.
Journal.
We will let our lucky angel decide which one it will be. I will just flip the pages and you put your finger in it and then click on one blind.
Okay.
Okay, the finger is in now, the thing.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Moments that meant that little something extra.
Oof. Whoa.
Monthly reflection. I like it, yeah.
I like it too. But you can go ahead.
Yeah. Monthly. Actually, what I really enjoyed was just today. I was making for Instagram page my about Yannic text, like who am I and my life, and I was searching a picture of me with my budgie Fipsy, and I thought I had it in my feed, so I scrolled down all my personal feed, and then I got a whole. I started Instagram in like 2012 or so, and then I posted so much out of authenticity and out of pure, this is who I am. It was no I want to be famous, or that is just who I am, what I wanna stand for, and I was just led through my whole life, and that was definitely a little something, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know how sometimes you get asked a question and suddenly your mind just goes blank?
No.
Okay. That's just me. That's how it feels right now. I feel so much pressure. I'm just like, what did happen? What happened yesterday? What happened today?
These reflective questions, like you can ask yourself these questions. It's pretty hard, actually. It's that's why it's good to ask these questions, because sometimes life just passes along.
Mm.
So nothing meaningful the whole month. Okay, thank you.
No. Maybe actually yesterday we printed out flyers for Soul City and we went to give them out. And it was just not the actual giving part, but the process of like walking around and just Yannic making fun of me because of how scared I was to give out the flyer. It just um kind of relived that childhood goofiness a little bit. It was like very nostalgic to back in the days.
Yeah, doing just something you want to do and just starting it somehow and moving your way through it. This is definitely a little something in life that is a sweet thing. And Andi will present us, I think, today's topic. Yeah.
Yes. So, today's topic is how to live a good life. What even is a good life?
I think I'll start with a personal example here, because my life is pretty good. That's probably everyone saying, but it's like everyone can just talk from their own reality. So I'll just go through my life. And for me, really, bodybuilding was a huge part of taking my life into the direction I wanted. It was, let's say, it was in my hands until I was 5, or not even then, because I was so dependent on other people like my mom and so it was really never ever my life. And when I was 15 and I started just what you just described, also I want to do something and I'm just doing it, and it just starts with ordering protein powder and going to the gym, and then it develops and develops. And that thing, taking my life from the outside dependence into my own terms, and just going all out on this and feeling the emotions. It started also, I would say, if you have no big dream of something, if you don't think your dream is a little too big, you dream too small. It was like I wanted to be the best in the world, and it was not just, oh, I want to be the best. It was really, I was set on this, and that kind of, reminds me of like when it started getting pretty good. Do you have a personal example from your life? Like, what would you say, what aspects contributed to your life being a good life and which not?
Probably, I would say when I left my home country. It felt like when I was in my home country, I was stuck in a specific role, and that was who I am in everyone's eyes. Like, it was really hard to change or do anything else because that's just you. And when someone puts you in a role, you have no other choice than to be in that role, kind of. So the moment I left and I went to France, it felt like that first breath of freedom, freedom to do whatever I wanted, you know? Like, I can leave the house whenever I want it. I can go wherever I want, and nobody's asking me, what time are you coming back home? Arab parents. What time are you coming home? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you going with? It was like, finally, like that first breath of freedom. So I would say a good life is freedom.
Mm-hmm. So I see similarities here. It was for you also taking the life just out of the hands of others and just doing what you owned, your own life.
Yeah.
You expressed it. I mean, you showed me pictures. You were like in Paris, wearing like fancy dresses, going to bakeries.
Living la vie en rose.
Yeah. What actually comes to my mind today when I was scrolling to my old stuff, even when I can see now from afar how I changed in the process of my bodybuilding life. I studied aerospace engineering, and in the process I developed bodybuilding, and then I saw this is the studying the numbers. It's not my thing. I want to be with people. I want to coach. I want to be interactive, and I want to do what I love, which is to train hard and get big at that time. And I see at some point I was that person, but I had the haircut of my student self. And that reminded me, I told you also on the couch just privately, I was holding on to a person that I'm not. And I would say, so far, like we have seen in our just personal stuff without even analyzing it deeply, what we are definitely going to do now, that living it authentically, taking it into your own hands, expressing it openly, and not holding on to old stuff is definitely a good, general guide for now to live a good life that one would not regret. And now, what is a good life? Yeah, I would say it's very individual. Like I can't tell you, oh, you need to lift weights to live a good life, or you need to play a music instrument. And everyone that says so has no idea about realities. That there's not just one reality that exists, but everyone's in a completely different reality. And if for me this was the right path, I can't tell you, oh, you should go to the gym. You look a little fluffy or so. It's like everyone has just their own stuff that they go through.
I would say a good life is bread and cheese.
That's authentic, yeah.
Our favorite thing, bread and cheese. I don't think we can live on now without bread and cheese.
Yeah, so definitely let's take these first things that we just conquered from our personal life. So it's like taking life out of the hands of others, like you're living life authentically. You're living every moment as authentic as possible and as expressive. But how to do it? Yeah, we have a whole other podcast about this also, making your life colorful. Again, it's all around, a little bit all around the same topic: shadow work, freeing yourself from outside influences,
finding wonderland again.
Yeah, just knowing authenticity is intended, and I felt it in university the first time when I was like, I couldn't even raise my finger when I know the answer, or I felt drained all the time. Then I knew like, oh, this is not a good life. I'm not authentic. I can't even speak. I feel lost all the time, energyless. So part number 2 is having a lot of energy. Yeah, if you drag yourself through life, that can't be a good life. I mean, what is a life? If we just break it down, that's why we have actually also the series classes. In our understanding, it's this is what we believe in, but life is pretty meaningless. Like if I mess up this life, I'm just incarnate in another life until all my lessons are learned. So it's not like, oh, it needs to be now and this and that. But why would you waste your consciousness on like just draggy and unpleasant stuff?
But that's only if you believe in reincarnation. If you don't believe in that, then I can see why some people take life very seriously.
And I have these for you, yeah. Yeah, so drive and energy, definitely a big part that was reflected also back then. Like this was the first spark in my gray world, like school and people I didn't vibe with. But when I went into the gym and I had this goal, it was like, finally, yeah. And from there on, all my life developed. So getting that spark from something and diving really deep into it and living it extremely plays definitely a big role. Emotions. I suppressed a lot of emotions. Yeah, that is a very simple question to ask. Yeah, but the answer is not that simple. Yeah, I would say as a child, when I remember back when I was at 5 years old in Australia with my mom, I was super expressionate. But stuff just happens. Yeah, you feel it's when you're new in this planet and other beings are a little bit longer here, you just take for granted that these beings, they know better than you, and every time something feels not good, you take it onto yourself. That's what I did, and what I would say every young child does. If something is off, an adult reacts with fear or anger, it's then just, oh, what did I do wrong? And then it's like just constantly shutting yourself off and putting yourself, squeezing yourself into that box that you think is pleasant for the surroundings. That's why it's really so refreshing to meet you, because like your box is a completely different squeezed box than my box. It's really cultural differences really play a huge role there, and it's one really needs to travel at least once and be there for a longer time to have also a little bit deeper bonds than just meeting a person on the beach and saying hi or so, or playing a round of ball. But if you meet a person deeply, and then you can see really, at least I could see how the cultural differences formed the being, and how fluid it actually is, and how actually also nobody really knows life. There's no one that can tell you, oh, this is how it is. Like in Germany, the elders say so, here it is so. And getting these perspectives is really refreshing. Yeah. Presence. If I'm just living in my own mind, if I'm not present in the moment, is it really a good life? Sometimes I thought about it actually today. I was thinking, I was dwelling in the emotions of my past experiences when I was going through the bodybuilding stuff. And when I was like in these thoughts and things, I thought like, should I just force myself now to be present? And then I thought, no, actually, no. Why would I go present if I just love it so much? Like, this is my presence right now, indulging in these emotions, enjoying the wind blowing onto my face and the sun. Like, this is the present. So the present doesn't need to be always right here in this moment. It can be also partly in thoughts, but I'm at least present in thoughts and in the moment. That's what I thought, and I'm consciously thinking it.
And what about people who say like a good life is when I have money, or when I have this house, or when I have this job, or when I have this?
What would you say?
I mean, when I first thought of this question, immediately my mind went, oh yeah, a good life is having a house in the woods, having my own garden, having my own food, having this, having that. Immediately, like my mind fired up. It didn't think, okay, I have a good life right now. That was not even something I thought about. It didn't come to my mind.
A good life also doesn't need to be a comfortable life for the mind, at least. I mean, comfort, I would even say if one is striving for authenticity, one just needs to strive for comfort. My goal is now here to not look the coolest or the hardest, but to just be the most comfortable. I'm at that exact time, I'm also the most authentic. So comfort means authenticity, which is a good life. But sometimes comfort for the mind is, for example, having the same income, the predictability, just living the whole stuff, the same whole stuff the whole life, the same stuff the whole life. And that is not a good life, yeah? So the soul knows sometimes better what is a good life than the mind. So breaking out of these stuff can be really uncomfortable. And now coming to the wealth things, I even thought to myself, like, if, okay, let's say you have two lives here. Let's look just detached from it. It's not our life. It's another person's life. That's very then easier to watch. Let's say one person, okay, goes to school, studies something that is so it's so important in the current world. It's like he studies in for like computer science. Okay, it's now so important. He finds such a good job. He has the car. He has the house. He has the girlfriend. Everything. Okay, then he grows old. He does a lot of vacations. He travels to these places in the best hotels, eats the best caviar. And now, okay, and
that sounds like a good life to me.
Let's say person number two.
Okay.
Person number two studies something, finds out it's not for him, starts a side hustle on just out of the pure self, gets rich again, loses it all, builds himself up again, meets a woman, thinks it's super good, breaks up, meets even another better woman, and you know where this is going. Like for the mind, then like lives in the woods, just eats, is forced to eat just wild animals that he hunts himself. Lost in the desert, needs to for one night just eats insects and then comes back, has a huge feast with his family. Um, it's that it's in my opinion like that change of things, the like really the discomfort, I would say, even like you can equal a good life even with discomfort for the mind, at least in my opinion. And if it's like another person's life, it's not my life.
If it's not our life.
Yeah, and that I would even say as a long-term goal. I mean, short-term comfort, stability, finding out who one is. But long term, I would say for a good life, it really needs some changes, like predictability in life. It's good for a moment to just breathe and okay, I'm know where I am now. Like let's say from 15 to 18 or 15 to 22. Like you have okay a little bit of stability, you know who you are now. You can look deeper. You're not that unstable, but like if we look in after like until 60 or 80, it's just super boring to have the old predictability. So their discomfort and also a change in realities. When I scrolled down my Instagram, I saw like I became from the student guy, then this bodybuilder lifting guy, then the bodybuilder lifting guy doing street stuff, being the cool guy, then doing the spiritual stuff, going raving, and then I'm developing now into this shaved guy with a fruit shirt and doing animals and pet sitting just for myself. And I'm just talking about my own reality. It's like a super, I changed my realities. Like I'm perceiving life completely different now. I see when I look at persons, people, I perceive completely different things. Just it's like really, you watch two different movies, but not just about a different thing, but completely different animated. Yeah, Love Death Robots. If you remember that
I know
series,
that one.
recommended, especially if someone has not watched it. And they have like they have like short movies and every episode it's a completely different animation, and that's how I perceive life in when my reality changes. And from that emptiness, when you change your reality and you really know then there's no such thing as just one reality and everyone should be like you, it then comes really then that you are open for other realities and you have the space to not just have your reality in the change, but I can perceive also your reality and how you change. And it's just, you're just eating. It's like you have like if you just live on a very strict life, your reality staying the same. You have one dish, you have just bread, and this is all your meal. But if I'm perceiving my own realities and your realities all at the same time, it's like I'm eating five different dishes: steak, fish, seafood, salad, cake.
Okay, that's nice. But when you say discomfort, could it? I don't really agree so much with that. I feel like if you feel like your life isn't good right now and that you're resistant to change, maybe it's not discomfort, it's that you're not living to your soul's alignment. So you're not doing what you're supposed to do, like you're not doing what you're passionate about. So to me, it's more like it's not discomfort, it's living your passion that leads you to a good life. Not like you need constant change, constant discomfort, constantly challenging yourself. More like you need to align yourself to the path.
I see your point. Yeah, discomfort should not be understood with just doing very unpleasant stuff. Yeah, bare knuckle fights. If you don't feel like it, yeah, if you don't feel like it means more like having maybe having the courage to let go, pulling the thorn out instead of like with some certain animals when they have a thorn in, they just don't wanna touch it, but if they would just pull it out, the process of pulling out is a discomfort. Not even that, it's just a little, what is it then? Yeah, you're letting just go a little bit of your own ways. That.
Yeah, letting go of the role you were placed in a little bit. So it's like you grew up in a place. That's why traveling is important, and seeing so many different lives, like you said, seeing so many different ways lived. I think I just lost my thought.
Yeah. How did you, like you, definitely you changed your roles a lot when
Yeah.
you grew up in Arabia, and then you moved to Paris, and now you sit here with this beautiful smile.
Back in Arabia.
Yeah, with a German boy.
With a German man.
That's what I wanted to hear. And how would you say, how would you encourage, like, what is the secret of being fluid with the identity, not holding on to the own identity? What did it for you in all this time?
Yes. What did it for me was breaking out of that group of people that I was around, because when I was around these people, it was so hard to go against all of their beliefs, like their belief system, their cultural system, everything. And not saying it's bad or anything, but I didn't feel right about it. But to be brave enough to do whatever I wanted back there in my hometown would have been impossible. So when I left there and I came to France and I started afresh, I started new, it was like I could be whoever I wanted to be. No one knows me. No one knows who's Andi. No one has ever met me. I get to decide who Andi is. And so that's what I would say it is. That's how you you need to travel, or you need to like move cities or do something, meet new people, because if you just stay with the same group of people, how will you ever know what is a good life or what is not a good life if you haven't seen the world?
Taking full responsibility of everything in the life, and if it's just constantly unpleasant what is going on here, then I just look what is unpleasant. Is it the people? Okay, then just maybe change the people. You just, it doesn't need to be like just moving out immediately, but you start maybe going to a different school. But if it's always the same, then moving. So taking responsibility, which are the people you're hanging around with, forcibly or not forcibly. Jobs are also, as you are the best example, it can be done anywhere. You can always find a job anywhere, and the people change then drastically. Where do you spend your money? A big factor. Conscious spending.
But you know, it's funny. Oh, are you done?
So far, for 1 minute.
It's my turn now. But there's one funny thing is, like, sometimes even when you feel like you're stuck someplace and you feel like you can't break out, sometimes the universe breaks you out. Like, I can think of one example is when I was in Paris, I was studying to be a pastry chef. So I was like, working in the kitchen. And as much as I love baking, I did not like working in a kitchen. It was not what I expected at all. But after spending so much money on my studies, there was no way I was going to leave it. I was like, khalas, I'm in it for life. There's no way I can change my major. And then I prayed for a miracle. And I don't want to say that COVID happened because of my prayer, but it feels like sometimes it did, because COVID happened and I felt no guilt anymore to, not work and make money. I was given this opportunity for 2 years to change my major, to do something else. So I feel like sometimes the universe gives you opportunities to break out of what you're unhappy about, but you have to be brave enough to follow through with it, to change your life, to live that good life.
To let go.
To let go, exactly.
Letting go, yeah. I would even say so far, like maybe life is even like idiot proof. Like you just don't need, if you just don't hold on to bad stuff, you're already being led in a good way.
That's true.
In the good ways. I remember when I was studying also, like the first big change in my reality. Okay, two big changes in my reality in young years. My first big was when I discovered bodybuilding, and it was actually through a person. People really play a huge role in life. If you feel something from a person, that person doesn't need to feel the same about you, but if you feel something, inspiration or attachment, like you want to be closer to that person, follow it through. It will prevent you so much unpleasant consciousness wasted. And it was like a father of one of the people that were in the ski team that I was in, and he was an ex-bodybuilder, and he had these huge calves, and when he walked, he was just so cool. He didn't even do bodybuilding. He drank beer every evening there and was just smoking. I think he had his this thing also passed, but as you could see, I'm still also a little bit heavier than a normal person. It just sticks on it, and just that really inspired me so much that I just quit because I didn't feel the spark also from the people in the ski team. But it was really, I didn't know what to do else. And that opportunity, that inspiration was presented to me. And then really it would be really like a conscious choice to not do what I love in that moment. So it's really just paying attention, just letting life flow, and then seeing, okay, this is a thing I need to go through now. Like it needs then also personal action, but it was not even hard to take the personal action. The energy just flew in me. I just needed to. It's like just changing the course. Yeah, just redirecting it. And the second thing was when I was in Stuttgart studying, and I felt so empty every time I entered the university. I tried to make some construct in my mind why I'm just not studying now and how I'm gonna do it the most efficient way, like just learning for like the exam the last 2 weeks and putting it in my head. But I just had horrible grades then. It was just a mess, yeah. And then I had in all the exams, I was not all, but in most of them, I had like I was close above a four, and above a four you are failed. And if you fail more than two times, and that in things, then you're matriculated. And then if you start somewhere else, you need to start completely fresh. And I felt this all the time. And then I thought, okay, what I'm gonna do now?
Germans are hardcore.
What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna move to another city, take the courses from this university, and then I can also like add it. I already did it, and just start from fresh, like fresh starts and everything. And then that's how I moved to Aachen, another city, and there my life completely changed regards money. I was finally not broke. I was finally. It's like I took my life in my own hands first, just doing what I want, and then navigating how can I make my life more comfortable, how so it's at my terms. And it was also like an opportunity just presented to me. Oh, you want to go to Aachen? Yeah, let's do it. Just being open to it.
So then, would you say that having or living a good life is just a state of mind? Would you, for example, now we live in Dubai and we love it here, but if you had to go back to Germany now, would you still be living the good life? Is it a state of mind or is it more?
Yeah. I made this kind of thought pattern when we were in Russia because I just imagined how would it be if we were just broke and would be in Russia there. Would I still be would I still feel my inner peace and my bliss?
He hated Russia.
And especially the saunas there. There's like no sauna places like in Germany where you just go in and there's many people and you can just relax.
Germany is elite in that, honestly.
And I made this thought experiment, and it came out that if I was there, as long as I could be striving in a certain direction, perfect. But if I was there feeling helpless in my situation, that would be then completely different.
Okay, but then
to answer your question, it is definitely a state of mind because in every moment you can always take this, you can own the moment and you can strive towards something. And that is then pretty clear. Yeah, if as long as you can strive towards something and you can just be living, as long as you can live, I would say you live a good life.
And that comes with experience, in my opinion. I would have never developed that mentality that having a good life is it just a state of mind that you can be happy no matter what if I haven't went through all those experiences and tried all those different things and did all those different things.
Let's name some precise, concrete things that stand in the way of a good life of many people.
Judgment, I guess. Judgment, when you feel so judged that you're even afraid to do something.
People?
So you're like...
Let's go back and forth.
What about people? What do you mean?
Just people, outside people, keeping you in that same box. You're hanging around people that are just poisonous.
Yes, exactly. What else? Greed, I would say.
Feeling helplessness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that experiment with the elephant where it's like you put a baby elephant on a rope and put it a flock in the earth. It can't go away, and when it grows and grows, it's like this huge elephant, but it's still the same small rope and that small thing. But it thinks it can't go out, and therefore it just stays. And this is, I think, the state of helplessness. Yeah, you think you can't do it, and therefore, I mean, it sounds so cliche, or well, you can do everything and everything, but life is really about convincing yourself that you can just lean into your life. That's what I discovered. I'm just making a turn here. There's masculine and feminine in every person, in every human. And I always thought, as a man, you need to just be as masculine as possible, and a female should be as feminine as possible, and that's it. But actually, and I'm going to explain now the aspects of that, it should be balanced 50-50 even. I know many people from Germany, especially, say, 70-40, these, that. No, 50-50, completely balanced. Not so you can, so you're nobody, but actually these aspects, the masculine is there to take information in, or just you have a certain you understand it, and then you take action, you take truthful action, you speak truth, you have the courage to do things, you just alter reality with your own hands and feet and your mouth. You do stuff. The feminine is, when I go into my feminine, I discovered this like 6 to 12 months ago. I feel like I feel like a little boy just opening up. I don't think, I don't understand. I don't feel forced to do stuff. I'm just in awe. Oh, and therefore I'm very wide open. Everything that comes, just I receive it, and I feel that receiving part is the part that's most lacking in most men. So feminine is not like you wear makeup as a man, but it's being in touch with just not trying to do something now or understanding, but just being, and therefore receiving information, guidance from the universe. And this guidance, if that is then understood by the own masculine and put into truthful actions, that makes you like a sovereign, a completely independent and truthful human being that can live the best life for himself. You're not bound by any constructs anymore, because what is there to fear? You receive all your information, you can go into your feminine, you can feel it, and you have the power to do it. And what it's being done is, it has been done that you can see it in the outwards reflects the inwards. The feminine has been suppressed. In men, like most men, they see feminine attributes as just
weak,
yeah. And the feminine has been put into as like this doll you place on the couch when visitors come, to present it to the visitors, and to just have like a servant back in the backyard or in the back of the kitchen. So that was what has been done. And by neglecting this feminine, the masculine has now neglected the feminine inside of the self, and therefore it's missing the divine guidance. So therefore the masculine, which can be weak and strong in a certain man, I think the worst state to be in is to have no masculine and no feminine. Yeah. But most men, at least in Germany that I know, they have the strong masculine. They feel like I need to get stronger. I need to be a man now. It's enough is enough. This world is just we're suffering. We need to do something. But without the guidance, you're being hijacked. Your masculine energy is being just transferred where they want it to be it fighting against other men for war, be it in working at your corporation to sit on the computer for 8 hours a day,
Oh.
be it, be it, yeah, and then it starts like that's how I started. I took this energy back. No, this is my masculinity, and I put it into something at that moment very pleasant to me. Yeah, that's what the spark of a good. This is how you start a good life. You just take your doing what you do, your energy. You take it for you, and then you put it where you want to do it. And when you get a feeling of it, the feminine can also then more open up. Like most men, they're lacking the feminine guidance because even though they are so masculine, but they don't trust in it. If you can just let it fall, like if you don't need to be thinking all the time, oh, what am I gonna do next? But you know what you're gonna do next is the right thing. If when you have known that, and sometimes it needs 60 years, sometimes 20 years, but when you can just lie into that masculine and let the feminine come, you are closing the circuit. And this is the process what I'm trying to hold on to, like to a closed circuit. Like it starts with like at some important times your feminine, like your intuition just screams at you and your circuit forcefully closes because it's so out of match. And then later, if you like you discover your feminine, you do your shadow work, you look, why am I suppressed, why is my expression inside, my emotions and just who I am on the core, on the heart, not on the mind. I can speak to you all these words, but who is really like the me, the soul, what speaks the soul. If I let that out, and if I feel like I can't let it out because of this and that, and I'm looking at these aspects, I'm comforting myself, and by doing that, it then activates that you can, if you are just forcefully in meditation, or you're after a rapé, for example, or after a training, or at the beach, you can close the circuit for a close time, and then it begins like it gets more, because then you realize, wow, this feels so much more comfortable, and you feel so safe. Everything is just, you have the guidance and you have the doing. There's nothing to worry about anymore. You can just enjoy life then. And then it becomes just convincing yourself to close the circuit all the time. And then this is, I think, then called you start your real living. This is when your real life starts, yeah. At least that's how I perceive it, yeah. How my life started then.
So, what advice can we give how to live a good life?
Conquer your masculine. Take life into your own hands. Express yourself authentically and fully. And if you can't, look into it why you can't. Yeah. Let's do some collection also back and forth of what people, just generally speaking, to open some horizons, what people potentially miss in their lives, like certain things that we have tasted now that back then we would have never tried because it doesn't come into our field. But if someone's attuning to our podcast and he's listening to this, it's meant for him to hear, because I feel the urge to say it. So we just go back and forth a quick list of things, and then we wrap it up. Animals.
Rollerblading? Does that work? Is that wrong? Okay.
Mountains.
Bread and cheese.
Anime.
Cooking home meals. Meditating.
Not even.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I just like.
It's like if it's like going on a diet. Nothing one needs to have in life. I would personally say.
Really?
Smoking weed.
Okay, we're gonna keep this halal. um, I'm out of things now.
Going to a techno party.
Having feasts. Can you tell I'm
Okay,
hungry?
eating a lot. Okay.
I feel like we should all have that experience, just eating until you're sick to your stomach, and then doing it a few more times before you're like, enough.
Reading a fantasy roman. For example, Bartimaeus, my favorite. Eragon, Harry Potter, these kind of books. At least trying it once, it can be for someone definitely something.
Definitely. Probably, I would even say for you, you had the experience of driving on the road with no speed limit. That's like an experience. You talk about it a lot.
But it needs really, it can't be just, oh, you just try it out. It
Okay.
needs to be the way of living. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, one could say that about the joint also, but I would consider the joint pretty safe for like the long-term life, how it is in case. And yeah, just trying to drive without limit, 260.
Growing up.
Yeah. I had one thing in my mind also. Playing board games
Oh yeah.
was not what I have in my own mind.
Catan, Jenga.
Yeah.
Jenga.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. We're running out of things to say now.
I love you guys. See you next time.